There you
Hi,
are.
hi, everyone. I'm Reverend Kathy Mastroianni, Executive Director of the Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation. And this month, October, we're celebrating American Archives Month, which is an opportunity to celebrate archives across America. And specifically today, we're going to talk about our very special archives, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation. And we are greatly honored to have the founder of the Science Mind Archives here with us, Reverend Dr. Marilyn Leo. So thank you, Dr. Marilyn, for joining us today.
I'm happy to be with you. Yes, the archive, the foundation. We worked on the archives for some years before I decided we needed a foundation so that we could gather more than just Ernest Holmes, but we could bring in other authors and today's music and just anything that we could find that was really worked with the science of mind and put it in the archives and keep all those things for people to see and to read and to download and whatever it is they do with all this information today.
Thank
So
you. And what
yeah, they go ahead.
that's okay. What do you think is unique and special about our archives?
Well, we have originals of things that belong to Ernest Holmes. So that's first, because the executor of Ernest Holmes' estate had and has things that belong to Ernest. And so slowly we have received things. And then my family, of course, had things of his, including pieces of furniture. And so I've donated those to the archives. And so most of everything that I had of his, including paintings that were on his walls, and then I had for several years. So those have now are in the archives. We have some personal things that I think are wonderful that people seem to enjoy. Things like Ernest Holmes had lots of cufflinks. In those days, they always wore the French cuffs. And so he had lots of pairs of cufflinks, and I brought those in from the estate about a year ago, I guess now. But there are interesting things. I had Hazel's prayer rug, which is called a prayer rug. I'm not sure it was in her. I'm not sure if it was in her dressing room or a bedroom, but I brought that in. It's silk and has a couple of little wormholes in it, but don't be looking for them when you go to see it. But it's hanging on the wall, and it's quite beautiful. So we have lots of personal things that you couldn't get anyplace else. You couldn't see anyplace else. And when people enter, I think they tell me what a wonderful experience it is, the feelings that they have when they go in there and see their beloved Ernest Holmes belongings, like a shirt that was his. I had a couple of his shirts at one time, but that was before I started working on the archives. And fortunately, one of them was given back to me, and so we have that hanging. And then we have a jacket of Hazel Holmes, his wife, and that I think it was from France. And my sister had that, and she donated that to the archives. So and he received so many doctorates from all over the world. And so we have all these certificates. I think there's 50 or so. And those are slowly being framed and put under museum glass, so there's no glare and protects them. And so those are projects that people have taken on to pay to have those framed. There's just so many wonderful things besides the library, and the library has thousands and thousands of books for many authors, New Thought and otherwise too. But we're also collecting the people who are in metaphysics or in New Thought that are writing today. And so we like to have copies of their books so we can add to them and have them preserved, as well as music. We have CDs from today's musicians, soloists and other musicians. There's just so many different things that we have that you can't even imagine. Can you think of anything, Kathy, that perhaps that I haven't spoke? Oh, I know something that's I think is a real treasure. Ernest Holmes, when he would write, he would often, he had an office and he would sit in his office in his home and in his office at work. But he would sit in his, often used his, sat in his bed and would write. Well, to write, he would, they used to have, maybe they still do, have these cardboard, pieces of cardboard about so big that they would put in with the shirts when they were laundered. And so he had a stack of those and he would write in pencil on those. So some of them are pretty hard to read. But there's one of them that I framed because it looked like it might have been his beginning notes about part of what became the Voice Celestial. And I have not double checked that. I don't know if you have yet, Kathy, or not, to see what it actually says, because it's been years since I read it. But I am so, so engrossed with the Voice Celestial now. It's such a beautiful epic poem. And when I was reading it, and I know I'm skipping, but that's all right. But when I began reading it a few months ago, I could just feel Ernest. Those last 3 years after Hazel died, he was not as happy as he had been before. I mean, I'll just say it that way, I guess. And I could just feel his pain in reading Voice Celestial. I mean, it's just, I don't know. So I'll go back and read it again, and maybe I won't feel the same way, but I did that first time when I was reading it. So, and it took me all these years before I understood poetry and could sit down and make sense of it. So now when I read it, I would read, just a few pages so that I could take it all in. Then I'd go read something else. I'd find myself reading in the same cadence as if I was reading Voice Celestial. So anyway, lots of things have been going on in the archives. As many of you may know, I wrote this, I think it was 2007 or so, in his company, Ernest Holmes Remembered, and that has about his life in just notes about his life. And then I interviewed, I think it was about 40 people, and who had met him, had classes with him, or knew him. And so I write about what they had to say too, and actual quotes. So someone was reading and said, well, why in the world did, it's bad English or something. I said, it's the way they said it, and I didn't want it changed. So did that. Then
and Dr. Marilyn, just for those who may not know, you were a close friend. You personally knew Ernest Holmes, and you were a neighbor.
Yes, I knew Ernest Holmes. I met him when I was a little girl. My mother married Reginald Armour, who was his close associate, Ernest's close associate. And we lived next door to him until 1949. And then he and Hazel moved closer to the Institute. But Reg saw him every day. He saw him at work, and we saw him socially all the time also, and at church on Sundays. But anyway, I went into the archives and spent a couple of weeks every day listening to the minutes of the, I wasn't listening to them, I'm sorry, they were printed. And I was reading them and then speaking into my computer, reading different subjects. And that was for both the RSI and and United, the two organizations at that time. And so I read all those, and then I wrote information about different subjects like the property and financial problems and wonderful things that happen, different boards and expectations of Ernest and all those kinds of things. And when I got finished, they said it's too much for one paperback, so we're going to have to split it. So I suggested that we make volume 1 from the beginning of the Institute, which is 1927, through Ernest when he died in 1960. So this goes from 26 is when the first beginning, and that was formally incorporated in 27, and then through 1959. So now
hold that up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And what's it called? What's the title of it?
It's called Chronicles of Religious Science, Volume 1.
Nice. Thank you.
And those are pictures of different, I think they're mostly ministers of in those old days. And then we have finally Chronicles of Religious Science, Volume 2 is January 1960 through February 2012. And that is the month and day, I believe, of the forming of the Centers for Spiritual Living. Is that correct, Kathy?
Yeah.
And this is a copy of that. So it's the same basic cover with different people's pictures on it, and they're in color. So Kathy wants me to be sure to show you this wonderful thing that's been given me. I mean, it's really, I've been given lots of awards and things, and I could show some to you, but I'm not going to. But this is a prize, really special. That's when I was in my 20s, and in the article that was written about me, there are other pictures of when I was a little girl, 9 months, and then when I was older with my husband Richard Leo, and then today. And today is well, you can see me today, and there's a picture of today. Anyway, when I started looking at it, it was right in the beginning of the magazine. I thought, what is the whole magazine about me? But no, it isn't. It's just a few pages in the front. So,
and so this
I thank Holly Sharp and all of the people at Science Mind Publishing for these wonderful things that they're giving me, and Sonia Byrne, and it just, so many wonderful things are happening at this time in my life. And just for your information on the QT, I'm almost 86. So there we go.
There you go. Wow.
February, I'll be 86.
Wow, thank you. And what Dr. Marilyn was referencing, this is going to be the November 2020 issue of Science of Mind magazine. And so keep a lookout for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you. What an honor, and how beautiful.
It's wonderful honor, and it's just great. And I really, really appreciate everything everybody is doing. And those numbers are very high. I don't understand, because people at 86 are supposed to be decrepit, and I'm not decrepit, and I don't feel that way, and I'm sure I don't look that way either.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with my life, and it's just getting better and better. So thank you so much, Kathy, for this time together.
Thank you. And just one little thing, you have a little preview in the article about a new book that you're writing. I mean, you're very active, and you're doing such wonderful things in the world. And I just know I speak on behalf of everyone. We're so grateful. And I would love for people to hear from you about your new book.
Yes, thank you very much. See, it's not here, so no, that's the only thing. Never mind, I'm not going there. It's called Mother of a Mystic, and it is the life story, or the story of Anna Holmes, And she was the mother of Ernest and 7 other boys. There's a picture, yes, and the advertisement, and it should be available. We believe it'll be out in December. So you might want to contact, I don't know, Park Point Press is who's publishing it. So you might want to be in touch with them and get on a pre-order list and get your orders in. I think it'd make a wonderful gift for Christmas present for all of your practitioners. Wouldn't that be great? And anyway, she was a wonderful woman. She lived to be 98. I mean, we've been saying 99 for a lot of years, but actually she was 98. And that I speak to that a little bit about that confusion. So anything else? She was like a pioneer woman. You know, she's, you know, if you could imagine the women that went across in the covered wagons, that's what she reminds me of. A little petite, all muscle and determination and a great work ethic. But she didn't come across in those days. She waited till later, came on a train.
Nice. Cool. Well, thank you. And thank you for all your work. And I'm just excited about all the great things that the Science of Mind Archives is doing for our movement and for our world. You know, and we do invite people to participate and join us. You know, we do virtual tours. Now, please check out our website, scienceofmindarchives.com. You know, and I think all the work Dr. Marilyn has done and that we're continuing to do is for each one of you, for everyone who is listening. We want to preserve and protect and present our Science of Mind philosophy and history for eternity, you know, to really capture the importance of our movement. And thank you, Dr. Marilyn, for your tireless work. Again, I call you the Energizer Bunny because I have a hard time keeping up with you sometimes. But I'm very honored and grateful to work with you on this incredible project for all of us. Do you have any final things you'd like to share with people?
No, I just hope that many people participate in the archives. And Kathy can tell you about membership and how to download thousands, I guess it's thousands of documents available in all of the Science of Mind magazines since the beginning, and all of the Creative Thought magazines from the beginning. Whether they're completely digitized or not, I'm not sure, but they continue to be in process if they aren't all there. But you can, and that even makes a wonderful gift for someone, actually, if you think about it, you know, to download maybe one of the magazines or the daily guide of the daily meditations, I think they were called at one time, for your person's birthday. Isn't that a wonderful idea? And so you can go in there and find the magazine for that particular month and find the daily guide for that day and download the magazine first, I guess. I don't know how you do it, but then you print that page and send it to them as a birthday gift. Isn't that fun? I think it's wonderful.
Idea. That is wonderful.
Yeah, so I think that's wonderful. And there's just so many things that that people could do. And we have a curator society that people can join and participate in. They can, they're invited to participate in leaving a gift through their will. We have an endowment investment also. So there's so many ways that people can participate and support the archives. We just love you all, and we hope you all take advantage of what has been preserved over these years. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. Thank you, Dr. Marilyn.